Thailand is an incredible food destination, but if you don't want to become best friends with your hotel toilet, there are some big mistakes that you need to avoid. First time my wife visited Bangkok, she was staying at a 5-star Western hotel and had just enjoyed breakfast at the hotel restaurant before heading out to visit the Grand Palace. As soon as she was through the gates, disaster struck and she never got to see the palace. Instead, she spent the rest of her time in Bangkok getting to know every tile in the hotel bathroom. The worst offenders when it comes to food poisoning are usually restaurants that almost exclusively serve tourists. Your best bet is to avoid restaurants that are located in prime tourist spots because they don't have to serve good or even safe food, because there's always going to be a new wave of tourists that are just looking for a place to eat that's close to the major attractions. There is one more restaurant style that you should treat with the utmost suspicion. That style is any restaurant that serves Western food. Burger places are a really good example of this. Minced pork is a staple of Thai food, fried fast and hot in a wok, but it's rare to see minced meat in a thick patty form in Thai cuisine. This lack of experience makes it really easy to undercook a burger, and that can lead to some pretty serious consequences. So when you're in Thailand, stick to Thai food and enjoy the new flavors. Now that I've made myself crave a burger, let's move on to the next category of restaurant that can knock out the unsuspecting tourist in Thailand. I'm always surprised to see foreigners lining up to eat at global fast food chains, even when they're surrounded by lots of good local options. After reading through several Thailand travel forums, I'm honestly more confused than ever. The amount of food poisoning stories I've read from people eating at fast food places has genuinely shocked me. I always thought the food at these places was disgusting, but at least safe. Apparently not though. From Subway to KFC, people have gotten sick from eating at almost every fast food chain in Thailand. Luckily, you're in Thailand, where every street stall serves fast food that is both fresh and delicious. So stop eating at global chains and support the small local places instead. The first time I visited Bangkok, I was just about to order food from a street stall when a huge rat suddenly ran out from underneath the cart. Needless to say, I didn't end up eating there. If you don't want to end up regretting your meal, there is a mental checklist that you should follow before choosing a street stall to eat at. The first step is to see which street stalls are popular with the locals, as they're most likely to have the inside scoop on which places are actually worth eating at. Of course, there's no guarantee that you're going to have the same taste buds as the locals, something that we've discovered more than once. You should also take a look around the stall to make sure that the cooking area is being kept clean. Also, make sure that the food doesn't have any flies on it and that raw ingredients such as meat aren't sitting out. Most street stalls obviously don't have fridges, but the meat should at the very least be sitting on a bed of ice and be protected from insects. Garbage scattered around the stall is obviously also a bad sign. Also, make sure that the vendor only specializes in a couple of dishes and uses limited ingredients. This ensures a high turnover and it limits how long the food sits out. Buying food that is prepared hot right in front of you, whether it's frying a dish in a wok or barbecuing, is the best way to avoid getting sick, as the heat will help kill bacteria. In general, you should avoid eating any room temperature food unless it's vegetables or something that's shelf stable like cooked dough-based desserts. Lastly, always trust your nose. We had found a small hole-in-the-wall restaurant that we wanted to visit in the Sukhumvit area, but as soon as we got close, we were met with an acrid smell that made us cough. We sat down at a table to order, thinking that maybe we were just being sensitive, but the smell continued and we realized that it was actually the cooking oil that was making us cough. Even locals passing by were coughing from it. Obviously, we didn't end up ordering any food from them. This might sound like a lot of rules to follow for eating street food, but honestly, once you've gotten the hang of it, you'll be able to sort the good from the bad in just a few seconds. Even if you follow all the rules and avoid food poisoning, you can still end up having to make a mad dash for the toilet if you eat this next food. When we were visiting the train market in Bangkok, I made the mistake of pouring a good few tablespoons of what seemed like a harmless chili and vinegar dressing all over my Thai basil stir fry. I just about survived eating the chilies, although I was sweating buckets from the humidity and the spice, and I was kind of feeling pretty proud of my spice tolerance. But 5 minutes after finishing my meal and walking around the other stalls, my stomach decided to let me know that we were no longer good friends. Hoping to make it to the air-conditioned toilets in the mall by the MRT, I began speed walking. I didn't make it to the mall, but I did at least find clean toilets, although without AC, on the way out of the market. So the night didn't end up in a messy disaster. This wasn't food poisoning. I was perfectly fine the rest of the night. It was just my stomach being overwhelmed by the spice. The good news is you don't have to be too worried about overwhelming your system with spice, as long as you don't try to match the locals. Most places, if they're making the food fresh, will normally either ask you about the spiciness level, sometimes, they'll hold up the chilies, or automatically reduce the spiciness if it's obvious that you're not a local. I used to work as an award-winning travel agent, and my clients would often ask me about the best things to see and do in the country that they were visiting. That's why we've created an interactive Google map and travel guide for Thailand. The map includes location pins for the top sites to visit, our favorite street food and restaurants, along with some hidden gems. Our personal tips are also included in each map pin. Simply download the Thailand map directly into your Google Maps app, and you'll be able to find the best spots at the click of a button whenever you're traveling. You can scan the QR code or find the link in the description below. Now that we've talked about the types of restaurants that can make you sick, let's talk about some specific types of food that can land you with a really nasty case of food poisoning. Thailand. When we were traveling in Vietnam, my wife got food poisoning. Since we had eaten and drunk the exact same things throughout the day, except for dinner, we were able to pin the blame on the deep fried spring rolls. This was really confusing, as deep frying is supposed to kill all the normal bacteria that we associate with food poisoning, such as salmonella or listeria. As my wife was making friends with the hotel toilet, she did some research and discovered that the culprit behind the food poisoning was the oil that was used for deep frying. Specifically, oil that is reused too many times or has been overheated or been stored improperly can turn toxic or rancid, leading to food poisoning. Thais love their deep fried food almost as much as the Scots, and we've seen so many street stalls selling everything from deep fried seafood to deep fried bananas. By the way, deep fried bananas are amazing. So how do you avoid getting sick from eating deep fried food in Thailand? The best way to avoid getting sick is to make sure that the oil the place uses is fresh. If the oil is dark looking or has lots of remnants of cooked food in it, then I would give it a miss. If the oil smells rancid or generally just smells a bit off, then skip that place as well. Fresh oil should have a light color and be see-through. These are the best ways to determine whether the oil is safe or not. This is another area where street stalls are actually better than restaurants, because you can easily see and smell the oil that they're using. The next food we need to talk about is everywhere. But if you buy it from the wrong place, it can easily derail your holiday. But before I get into that, make sure you subscribe for more no-nonsense travel tips that'll help you plan your own grand adventure. We thought we had hit the jackpot when we discovered a great little stall selling homemade curries in the MRT that was close to our hotel. When we first discovered the stall around lunchtime, the curries were hot, bubbling away, and delicious. However, when we revisited another day to buy some curry for dinner, the heat had been turned off and the curries had been cooling for an extended period of time. Turning off the heat towards the end of the day seems to be a common practice for a lot of small stalls and restaurants in Thailand. According to food hygiene experts, this puts the curries bang in the middle of the danger zone where bacteria that can make you sick will multiply quickly. So if you want to enjoy a pre-made curry, make sure it's being kept hot. If you have any questions about eating out in Thailand, let me know in the comments and I'll try to answer every single one. Now let's talk about whether the water from your hotel tap and the ice in your coffee is a ticking time bomb. If you were to get the tap water directly from the treatment plant, then it would actually be safe to drink. For example, the water treatment plants in Bangkok are certified and tested to international health standards. But by the time the water reaches the tap in your hotel room, it's gone through a massive network of pipes that are all of varying degrees of quality. After that, the water tends to sit in large plastic water tanks at your hotel, and those sit outside baking in the Thai sun. This means that by the time the water reaches your tap, it may have picked up a few buddies along the way, such as microplastics, heavy metals, herbicides, and just general bacteria. You can still shower in the water without needing to worry, and you can also use it to brush your teeth. I personally prefer rinsing with bottled water, but when it comes to drinking water, you should absolutely stick to buying bottled. When buying from a convenience store, you should also check that they're not storing the bottled water outside in the heat, as that is a great way to release microplastics and other chemicals from the plastic into your water. Whenever we're in Thailand, we're constantly drinking Thai iced coffee or Thai iced tea in a futile attempt to stay cool. We've never gotten sick from these drinks, And it's not because our guts are superhuman. You can also indulge in iced drinks without having to worry, as the ice is usually purchased from either convenience stores or directly from ice factories where they use filtered water to create the ice cubes. Now that you know how to avoid getting sick on your Thailand trip, make sure you check out our latest video with brutally honest travel tips that'll help you save time and money.